The scream that shattered the mansion's silence didn't come from the hallways or the garden where sunlight spilled across trimmed hedges, it came from the kitchen. A place usually filled with the warm aromas of fresh bread and citrus tea now echoed with something far colder. When Mariah stepped in and saw the refrigerator door hanging open, frost spilling out like smoke, and two tiny boys curled inside, trembling and covered in ice, she felt the world tilt beneath her. She staggered, clutching her chest as the children cried silently, too cold even for sound. What she didn't know yet, what she was about to discover, was that this was no accident. It was a warning. A threat. A secret darker than any shadow in the billionaire's mansion. If you believe kindness and second chances still matter in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your support keeps these stories alive. It had been just another bright afternoon when Mariah, hired only 2 months earlier, arrived early for her shift. The Hawksworth estate sat atop a hill in Los Verdes, an ocean view home with tall glass windows that reflected the sun like a crown. Inside lived billionaire investor Rowan Hawksworth, a widower with 2 sons, 6-year-old twins, Kellen and Rory, boys with wheat-colored hair and soft hands who clung to each other like 2 halves of one heart. After losing their mother, they rarely spoke to strangers, but they trusted Mariah. She was gentle, understanding, and she never pushed them beyond what their grief could carry. But there was someone else in the mansion now. Rowan's stunning new fiancée, Viola Marquette, a woman whose beauty glittered in daylight but whose smile never touched her eyes. Her arrival had been abrupt, almost too polished. In public, she clung to Rowan's arm and whispered about future wedding colors. In private, she watched the twins with a tightening jaw, as if they were stains she wanted scrubbed from the future she imagined for herself. Mariah noticed the shift immediately. Viola's voice became sharp around the boys. She hid it well from Rowan, of course. Whenever he was home, she transformed into a caring soon-to-be stepmother. But when he traveled, which he did often for business, the temperature in the house dropped. Mariah had heard Viola yelling the night before, but children get yelled at in moments of frustration. She never imagined something darker. That morning, Mariah entered the kitchen to restock breakfast items. She heard faint whimpering. At first she thought it was coming from outside the open window where the gardener worked. But no, the sound was too close. Too raw. She turned toward the refrigerator. Something inside her whispered, "Open it," and then she saw them point. 2 fragile boys crammed together in the bottom compartment, shaking violently, their faces streaked with frozen tears. Their tiny hands were wrapped around each other's shoulders. Their shirts were covered in frost. They had been in there for a while. Mariah gasped so loudly her voice cracked. She reached in, pulling the children out, wrapping them in warm kitchen towels as they sobbed against her, and just seconds later, the clicking of heels sounded across the marble floor. Viola, she entered the kitchen with a bright smile, too bright, and froze when she saw the children on the floor in Mariah's arms. For a split second, her mask cracked. Her eyes widened with fury, not fear. "Why did you open that fridge?" Viola snapped, her tone dripping venom. "You're overstepping." Mariah felt her blood turn hot. She rose slowly, shielding the boys behind her. "What happened to them?" she asked, voice shaking. Viola scoffed, flipping her sleek brown hair over her shoulder. "They were misbehaving. It was only for a moment." "Don't exaggerate." "A moment?" Mariah's voice rose. "They're freezing. They could have. Watch how you talk to me." Viola stepped forward. "One word from me and you're fired." Mariah stared at her. Viola didn't look panicked. Or remorseful. Only inconvenienced. The truth hit Mariah like a blow. This wasn't a mistake, this was intentional. Viola pointed to the door. "Go clean the guest rooms. I'll take care of them." Mariah didn't move. She held the children tighter. And in that moment, something inside her, a soft-spoken woman who had always avoided conflict, hardened. "No," she whispered. Viola's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me?" "No," Mariah repeated, louder this time. You will not go near these children again. The air went still. Viola curved her lips into a chilling smile. Rowan will never believe you. Mariah looked down at the boys. Their red eyes. The frost still melting on their eyelashes. She felt her resolve root itself deeper than fear. He will believe them, she said, and she carried the boys upstairs. But Viola wasn't done that. In the hours that followed, she staged an entire story, telling Rowan by phone that the children had locked themselves in for fun. She even told the chef to throw out the towels Mariah used, claiming they were dirty. She deleted security footage near the kitchen. Mariah knew she had only one chance. She needed evidence before Viola erased everything and turned the story upside down. Later that afternoon, while the boys rested in the sunroom wrapped in blankets, Mariah searched the kitchen. She inspected the fridge, the handle, the storage compartments. And there, wedged inside the door hinge, she saw something small and sharp. A hinge pinpoint, one that looked tampered with. The fridge wouldn't have sealed shut on its own without someone forcing and jamming it. Mariah snapped photos with her phone. She documented everything, the frost on the boys' shirts, their trembling, their statements whispered between sobs. And then she made a decision that terrified her. She called Rowan directly. Her hands shook as she waited for him to answer. When he finally picked up, she heard the hum of an airport behind him. Mariah? Is everything all right? She took a deep breath and told him everything. Steady. Detailed. Unwavering. At first there was silence on his end. Then Rowan whispered, "Are the boys okay? Where are they now?" "Asleep. Safe with me," she answered. "I'm coming home," he said. "Don't let Viola near them." When Rowan arrived just before sunset, he moved like a storm through the house. Viola rushed to greet him with dramatic tears, clutching his wrist. "They're lying. All of them. The maid, the children." Rowan pulled his hand away. "Where are the twins?" he demanded. She faltered, her voice shaking not with fear, but fury. "You're listening to her? Over me?" "Kellen told me everything," he said. "Rory too." Viola's face drained of color. Rowan stepped closer, towering over her. "I saw Mariah's evidence. I saw the hinge. I know exactly what you did." The chandelier light glinted off Viola's trembling hands as she tried to speak, but her excuses tangled into nothing. Rowan called security. Viola was escorted out, screaming Rowan's name as if she were the victim. When the door slammed shut, silence fell across the mansion. Later, Rowan sat at the bedside of his sons, tears sliding down his face as he apologized to them again and again. Beside them stood Mariah, watching with quiet relief as the boys leaned into their father's arms. Rowan looked up at her with gratitude so deep it nearly broke his voice. "You saved them," he whispered. Mariah shook her head gently. "They saved themselves. I just listened." In the days that followed, Rowan made swift changes. Viola's engagement was formally dissolved. Security was tightened. The twins began therapy with a specialist. And Rowan gave Mariah more than thanks. He offered her a permanent position, full authority over the children's care, and a home on the estate if she wished. But Mariah asked for only one thing: safety and healing for the twins, and she gave them that, every single day. Because despite everything she had been through in her own life, she still believed in mercy. In kindness. In choosing what is right even when it is dangerous, and in a world full of people who walked by pain without seeing it, Mariah opened a door, and saved 2 small lives. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your engagement truly helps us keep spreading human kindness. Special request. Comment, protect the innocent. If you believe every child deserves safety, love, and a voice.